Could you tell us a bit more about the flying in Indonesia and for Lion Air?
It was my first, and it was with people flying for expats with 0 hours of experience.
Right.
So we were a bunch of guys who got the opportunity to work with Lion Air. Initially, I thought it's a fake. Basically, at that time, they were not giving command to expat first officers.
Okay.
Adamant that you've done your CPL from India and you will get a job in India itself. You should be open-minded. So you don't need a type rating instructor rating also to take a passenger. For training a person, you need a training license. There are some airlines in the world which will give you a job. When I applied in India, then various airlines in India called me back. But the airlines is shut, but the pilots meet. So that says a lot about the airlines itself. And unfortunately, in 2008, Kingfisher shut down. So aviation was not looking good. And finally, at that time, when you're sitting at home, when you don't have a job, in fact, I joined a call center. So because I wanted to work and earn my own money, you have to work inside the aviation community. You cannot join another company or do something else. You'll never get a job like that.
Namaskar and welcome to Golden Epaulettes podcast by pilots for pilots. My name is Ronak. Today again we have someone super duper special with us. It's Captain Bharat Chandelier. He started off with ferrying around 2 passengers in Canada on a daily basis. Today he flies for a leading airline carrier in India and ferries around 200 passengers on an average. Let's go ahead and ask him how the journey has been. Hello, Captain. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for calling me here.
You're very welcome. Would you, like I just told our audience that there was a time in Canada when you started all this, the flying career, by ferrying 2 passengers.
Yes.
How was that and how is it now?
Okay, so I went for my flying in Canada in 2005. And after my CPL, I decided to stay there in Canada. And there is a scope of working after your CPL in Canada. You can join general aviation. It's called general aviation. You can work there and fly there and earn money. I mean, you can take people to, like I used to take them to CN Tower or Niagara Falls and used to earn money with that.
Sightseeing.
Correct. Or people who would like to go see their house. You know, general aviation is such amazing there that you can actually go in a 4-seater or a 2-seater and you can actually fly over your house. So people do that there. So I loved it and I didn't want to come back at that time from Canada. So I stayed there for approximately 3.5 years, 3 years, and I stayed there.
You wanted to be in the country, enjoy the living
Yes,
in that
I liked
country?
the country.
You
I liked
did.
initially when I was 18 and it was the first time when I went out. You know how we are young.
Yeah.
And first time I left my country, went out, I was mesmerized by the fact that wow, clean air and you know how things
Absolutely.
go.
Canada must be beautiful.
Absolutely. And flying, I started there, so I loved it. And I wanted to stay there.
And it holds a special significance. The place where you start your flying holds a
Yes,
very special
yes,
significance.
yes, yes.
And where you train.
Correct.
So
you have your memories.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
worth remembering. So you're trying to tell our viewers, you are telling our viewers that apart from instruction as well,
Correct.
that you can venture into general aviation just after
Yes.
getting your license.
Yes, you can.
In countries like Canada.
Yes.
And ferry, few passengers, but you can still build hours that way.
Absolutely.
And be paid for it.
Yes, you're logging hours. So you're working in a flying club itself. So because it's general aviation, there are people who will come in the flying academy and they would love to go and do sightseeing or see places. So it's not necessary that you need to train someone and then only you will log hours or get money. Basically, you're flying the aircraft.
And it's the aircraft you've already flown.
Yes.
It doesn't need a type rating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you don't need a type rating instructor rating also to take a passenger. For training a person, you need a training license to teach someone. In this, you don't need to be a trainer. I can take you or anybody else who walks in and he wants to see Niagara Falls.
Right.
So I'll take him.
Right.
And the company is getting paid by the passenger and the company pays you. So
Right,
it
right.
works like that.
For a fact, I know, like in San Francisco, if you fly,
Mhm.
you can take up passengers to see Golden Arc,
Correct.
the Golden Gate Bridge,
Correct,
and
something like that.
yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
I can, I
Something like that.
fairly agree with it. Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not there in India yet, but it'll happen. It's going to happen very soon.
It'll be very amazing if it happens in
it'll
India.
happen,
We have got
yes.
so many things we could view from the sky.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, Captain Bharat, that's really good to know. And let's fingers crossed. We hope we have something for sightseeing from the air in India as well pretty
Correct.
soon. I mean,
We will.
we'd
we
love
will.
that, right?
Liberty Statue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, if we can view a lot of things, I think.
correct.
Anyway,
Taj Mahal is there.
Taj Mahal, yes. A lot comes to my mind as well, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep that under check.
Okay.
But okay, coming back, uske baad what happened? You were there in Canada
Yes.
for 4 years,
3.5.
3.5,
Yes.
starting 18.
Yes.
Then you came back to India. It was which year, and how was aviation in India looking like?
So what happened? I came back in 2007,
Mhm.
2007 end, and unfortunately in 2008, Kingfisher shut down. So aviation was not looking good. But I had already been. I came back to India. I mean, and then I didn't have the option to go back because I had quit my job in Canada and all the papers and house, everything.
That door was closed.
Yeah, that door was closed. So basically, I was jobless at that time, and I would like to say that in fact, I joined a call center. Yeah, so because I wanted to work and earn my own money. I mean, I didn't wanted to ask money from my parents. But then my parents and some good instructors, my seniors, told me that if you do want to be in aviation and be a part of it, you have to work inside the aviation community. You cannot join another company or do something else. You'll never get a job like that. And finally, at that time, when you're sitting at home, when you don't have a job, rather than deviating from what your goal is, it's better you do something within aviation, like I did my graduation at that time. So that helped me. I mean, getting more knowledge about aviation, and then I met other people in the college.
So that instructor's advice, one of your mentors' advice, rang a bell.
Correct.
So that, stuck the right chord in your
Correct,
head
correct.
कि अब aviation में ही कुछ करना है.
Correct.
You have to live here.
Yes.
You don't have to be out of it in a call center or in any
Yes.
other industry because it'll
Absolutely.
make you forget what your calling is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So thanks to whoever that kind person was, and
Yeah,
thanks to all, I'd like to mention all the people who've been, on our way and guided us.
Correct.
All our aviation journeys. There has
True.
been that one individual
Yes,
at
you
one
need the
point in
guidance,
time.
yes,
Yeah, and
yes.
somehow that person has manifested. That person's
Yes,
come. For you, that
yes.
instructor.
Yes, he did.
And then thereafter, you thought of flying only after quitting the call center job?
Yes, of course, because then my focus was on aviation. I needed the job badly. Like every kid in India wants to fly a commercial airliner. And the thought of me bringing back myself from Canada was to fly the big ones. Not the four-seater ones, because the aim was to fly the big ones. Everybody has a dream one day to fly a commercial airliner,
Yes.
a big jet. As I said, unfortunately, Kingfisher shut down, and then at that time we had no jobs, and in that time I did my graduation. After that, luckily I got my job in Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Based on an Indian license?
Yes, so you can fly. So
Could you explain? Because I think that will intrigue a lot of people. How
Correct.
does that work? That creates a job opportunity
Yes,
right there.
It does, yes.
How does that take place then?
So basically, you don't see, we've done your CPL from India or any country. It is not necessary to fly in that country itself. I mean, there are ways where you can convert your license. The country, you can give a regulation exam. That's all, and a MET paper. And they will convert. There's a DGC in India. There's a DGC in Indonesia also.
Okay.
So they'll give you a FATA license,
Okay.
a foreign license based on your paper that you've cleared the regulation paper.
Right.
And then they will issue your local license
Okay.
based on your mother license, which is your Indian or US license.
So you had a Canadian converted to Indian, now converted to Indonesian.
Correct.
To fly for Lion Air.
Lion Air.
How was it flying for Lion Air?
It was amazing. It was my first airlines, my first love. Beautiful place, beautiful people, amazing instructors. And first time I flew a 737. I was on the 737s in Lion Air. It was amazing. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I talk about it because, I mean, the weather there, the beaches, the people, they're very humble and very polite.
Right.
And imagine an opportunity which I got with general aviation 400 hours, and I got as an expat first officer on a Boeing 737.
Right.
So there's an option, guys. I mean, there is an option that you don't need to be adamant that you've done your CPL from India and you will get a job in India itself. You should be open-minded. So imagine a guy. It's the reverse which happened with me. Usually people work in India and then they go abroad. So we were a bunch of guys who got the opportunity to work with Lion Air. Initially, I thought it's a fake. I mean, who thinks about Lion Air? I mean, there can be name of Pigeon Air or Elephant Air, but it is.
So my question here is, everyone with you, the 3 or 4 people, and you, did all of them have the extra 400 and 500 hours of
No.
flying, or some of them were 250 CPL
Yes,
as well?
they were 250.
They were 250
yes,
CPL,
yes,
and
yes.
Lion Air still took them.
Yes.
So that time, Lion Air had a program which was absorbing Indian nationals
Yes.
on the basis of an Indian CPL.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because of the supply demand.
Because of the supply demand,
Yes.
now it doesn't exist, or it may come in
It
future.
is there, but now you need 200 hours of experience on type.
And how does one get that?
Exactly. So there's a
Right.
saying, right? To get a job, you need experience. And then to get experience, you need a job.
Job.
So it's a cycle. But luckily, as I said, if you keep working on it now, so now the programs there are like if you fly general aviation and now make hours, there are still some airlines in the world which will give you a job. Like people I know, they've flown in Malay. They've done 1500 hours of the Seneca or the smaller aircraft, 4-seater or 6-seater, and then they've got job in airlines in India.
Okay.
Yes, like on the Q400s, they've got the job.
And that was their distinguishing factor.
Absolutely, because they had that experience.
Right.
So experience always counts.
Like,
always.
However little or
Yes,
big
it doesn't matter that you're not flying the big ones initially. It doesn't matter, guys. I mean, experience is experience.
Okay.
Someday it'll help you.
Okay. All right. So, Captain Bharat, this has got me intrigued. Could you tell us a bit more about the flying in Indonesia and
Okay.
for Lion Air, not for Pigeon Air or something?
Okay. So yeah. So as I said, I mean, it was my first, and it was with people flying like for expats with 0 hours of experience.
Right.
And giving such an opportunity by an
Right.
airlines to us was a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
It's very unfortunate that they've stopped it.
Huh.
But I hope, I wish if somebody from management in Lion Air is watching this podcast,
Huh.
I really wish that they reopen this
Right.
for the kids, for the people in India,
For the pilots.
for
in
the
India.
pilots who can go there and gain experience.
Right.
And it's a beautiful place to learn flying. I
Right.
mean, because of the weather, the instructors, the islands, you see different various conditions to land and take off on.
Uh-huh.
I really wish that they reopen that program again.
Right. Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing the amount of challenges you had and how you
Yes,
conquered them, I really
yes.
wish if Lion Air would, or any other airline would sort of have this sort of program
Correct.
for young Indian nationals
Yes,
to go
yes.
ahead and kickstart on their flying on the
Correct.
big ones.
Yes, yes.
Apart from just the Indian carriers
Absolutely.
which are doing it.
Absolutely.
All right. And from there on, kya hua? After Lion Air, what happened?
So it was a 3 years contract, and basically at that time they were not giving command to expat first officers.
Okay.
That was the rule there. The
Okay.
Indonesian DGC rule was that they won't be giving command to the expats.
Okay.
So they were telling me to sign a 5 years contract.
Okay.
Further 5 years contract, and at that time there was, I thought of that. Why would I be first officer for another 5
5
years?
years.
I also wanted to upgrade myself.
Right.
And the best thing happened. I applied in India. And again, thanks to Lion Air, the experience which I had, the 2,400 hours of Boeing 737 hours I had, when I applied in India, then various airlines in India called me back. Yes. And it was Jet. So I joined Jet after because
chose to join.
I chose because that was the best airlines which I feel
Right.
in India at that time.
Right.
At that time, so I came back to India.
And you started flying for Jet on the
737s.
On the 737s
Same,
itself.
as a first officer.
And this was what year?
It was 2014. So
2000.
13, I mean the process started off joining, but I got released by the ground classes and all the simulator sessions which happen before you join an airlines.
Mm-hmm.
I came online in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And so 737, your journey on 737 started with
Yes,
Lion Air.
correct.
Continued on Jet Airways.
Jet Airways.
Would you like to say something about flying for Jet?
Oh, that's one amazing airlines which I really miss. I mean, I don't think so. I've not met anybody. That's the only airlines which I feel after shutting down. There's a group.
Yeah.
There's a WhatsApp group, and people still meet. The pilots have meeting. Imagine how much emotionally
Yearly
people are
meetings.
connected
Yes, yes.
to that airlines.
Yes.
That the airlines is shut, but the pilots meet. So that says a lot about the airlines
Yes,
itself.
absolutely.
I mean, it was not my first airlines, so it's not that I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. It was the best experience for a full cost carrier, and how they treated pilots or the cabin crew or the management.
the staff. in
The
general.
staff. It was all heart. It was amazing to work for that
It was all
airlines.
hard.
Yes.
So have I heard about
Yes,
Jet Airways. So
yes.
have I heard. We were in conversation with Captain Bharat, and he has something very interesting to tell us. Something we often hear of with airline pilots, but we don't actually know that it has happened to many people, which is an engine failure. Yes. So if you would like to know about his journey further and how he handled an engine failure, please continue watching on part 2.